Let's go and have a look at the rocket.
The rocket started off as two bins, large bean tins, and the dustbin lid. Removable pipes, so that the puppet can get his hand up. Lampshade, and a fisherman's buoy for the nose. Getting it right was important, you know, so because they spent the whole episode in the rocket.
And what made you think of making it from various different used objects?
Shane gives me a drawing, and he gets more or less 95% of what he puts on paper.
Right.
So
right.
it ends up pretty good.
How long does it take to make the rocket?
More or less took about 2 days to 3 days.
Just give me a few sort of your what you thought when you first came onto the show and how you approached the design, and what was the biggest challenge?
Probably the biggest challenge was getting inside their head. Firstly, finding out whose world. It was Big's world, but everything is big sized. But trying to make things that small can use and that big can use, and even when they're standing together, one is so big and one is so small. So trying to make things that aren't too small for big and things that aren't too big for small. It's trying to get a sense of scale to put everything in the right proportions for everybody. And that was one of the biggest things is to figure out. And also, whenever something becomes real, you know, when you can use a real tin or you have to make a tin, you know, because we had a mixture of things, or sometimes we had to paint things or add bits too, you know. It's trying to think like a child again, probably, really, you know. Even the fact that you know, I kept asking questions. Where do they buy their groceries? Why do they always eat sandwiches? It's just trying to get back into that age thing again, and imagine how a kid thinks, you know. And I think the show comes across as like that, especially small. It's very much like that, and you can sort of see that there's Big is obviously considerably older than Small, you know, and he's the sensible one. It's kind of like two brothers, you know. Who made it? Did Big make it or did Small make it? You know, if Big makes it, it's quite well done, but not perfect. And if Small makes it, it's really badly done, you know. So you have to learn who's made the prop or who's it for. Big is pretty good, but Small is terrible. Where Big can draw considerably better. This will be another Small one. Big's more of an architect or a designer, and he does blueprints of everything. So that was a machine he designed. That was his. I think it's something for squash and vegetables. So what he always does before he builds it in his shed, he does a little blueprint. And Big's also into maps. He loves drawing maps, you know, to show where the pond is, where the apple tree is, where his shed is. And arrows, he loves arrows. They love arrows to point things. Yeah, and that's a slightly better. Big's maps are usually a bit nicer than Small's. Small's a bit more basic. That'll be a drawing that Big has done and Small has drawn himself. It is a kind of strange world that they live in, because they're well, the three things that happen every week is apples fall out of the tree onto Big's head. He still hasn't learned not to sit underneath the apple tree. They eat sandwiches. We have hundreds, every flavour of sandwiches that you could imagine. Every type of banana, dead bananas, squash bananas, ripe bananas, musty bananas. And every time they open a cupboard, things fall out. So they never stack anything very well. So those are the things that happen constantly.
You want that box to open, don't just try to knock.